In this video, we're going to look at translations and reflections, and actually probably just translations in this one. So some vocabulary for you. First, pre-image, we'll call that just the beginning figure. It's just where you start. And then the image would be the ending figure after the transformation. So pre-image is where you start, what happens before the transformation, and then the image is after the transformation. And then translation is something that shifts all the points of a figure in the same direction and the same distance. So a translation is not going to change the shape of the figure. It's just going to move it up, down, left, and right. So let's take a look at some translations. So we want to translate the given figure 2 units right and 3 units down, and then we want to list the coordinates of the image, and then write the transformation notation for the problem. So first let's plot our points. So A is 3, 2, which is right here, and then B is negative 2, 4, which is here, and then C is 1, negative 2, which is here. So this is our pre-image. And if we want to connect them to see this triangle, that would be fine. And then we want to translate this 2 units right and 3 units down. And so you can simply, if you plot these points, you can simply just count over 2 and down 3. So 2 units to the right for A would be 1, 2, and down 3 would be right here, and this would be A. B would be 2 units to the right and down 3 would be here, and C 2 units to the right and down 3 here. Notice with the translation that the shape does not change. It's still the same triangle. It's just slid over or translated over. In this case, to the right 3 and down, to the right 2 and down 3. Now we want to list the coordinates of the image. So the image is where we ended with. So I need to list my new coordinates. And I can do this just directly from the graph. So I can list A as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, negative 1. B would be 0, 1. And C would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, negative 5. And so these are my coordinates for my image. In the transformation notation, we're going to write like this. So transformation notation, we start with just x, y. That's my pre-image. So plug in any point there. And then I'm going to translate or change that, and I use an arrow to represent that. And then I'm going to give my rules for transformation. In this case, I move it 2 units right, so that'd be x plus 2. And then 3 units down, which would be y minus 3. Another way to get this transformation or translation would be to plug in your original with your transformation rule. So if I plugged in this point, 3, 2, 3 plus 2 is 5, and then 2 minus 1 is negative 1. So we can check them all that way if we'd like. So here's another example. Make sure you push pause and try this on your own. This time we want to translate the image 4 units up. So we're given A, which is 1, 4. And always plot your points. 5, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's negative 1 is B. And then C is 0, negative 2. And then I want to move this 4 units up. So I'm going to take each point and just move it up 4. So we can just count 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's C, and we're going to actually call it C prime, and I forgot to mention that on the last example. So C will be the original with the pre-image, and then C prime would be after applying a transformation to it. And then we move up 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would be A prime, which looks like just a little apostrophe. And then B primed 1, 2, 3, 4. Here. Now when you plot these, if you don't have graph paper, make sure that your tick marks are pretty equally spaced, because it's important that you're able to kind of check your work with what you have here. So if it looks like the shape is different, then you may have done something wrong. But if your tick marks aren't equally spaced, then it's going to look different when you move it. So those look like I'm probably right there. So let's go ahead and list the A primed, B primed, and C prime. So A prime would be 1 and, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 8. B prime would be 5, 3. And C prime would be 0, 2. In my transformation rule, which I could have started with, would be x and then y plus 4. Let's go back to that last example and label these with the prime. So this is A prime, B prime, C prime, and A prime, B prime, and C prime. And that's how we can tell the image from the pre-image. Okay, so another thing we'll do is say you have a transformation and we want to describe it. And so when we describe it, we want to describe if it's a translation, if it's a reflection or rotation. And right now all we know is translations. So these will definitely be translations. But as you can see, this is going to move, this is plus 3, and it's also with the x. So that's going to be a translation to the right 3. And we can use a little bit of shorthand here as well. And this is also a translation, and this is to the y, so that's up or down, and in this case it's down 2. So we're going to say down 2. So push pause and try to list those other transformations. On number 4, this is a translation right 5, and that's it. So you don't have to, we're not changing the y at all. And if you're not changing the y, you don't have to say it's a translation 0 up or 0 down. You just say nothing. And we know it's a right instead of up because x is left or right, and positive is to the right. And number 5 would be a translation down 2. Let's try that one more time. Translation to the left 2. X is left or right, and negatives to the left. And then a translation down 7, as the y is up or down, and negative is down.